If you use search engine optimization to get traffic to your website and you ever wonder, is there a way to beat out authoritative sites without more backlinks and without more time of operating your website, then this video is for you, because today we'll be talking about how to structure your website for search engine optimization, and also so that you can give your users a better user experience. The tips that you'll learn in this video will help you to rank better, and also they'll help you to give your users a better user experience, which will improve your time on page, which will overall go back to improving your search engine ranking. And hopefully you'll get lots of people telling you about their positive experiences because you've made your site navigation so easy, and because you've created your content in a way that is very easy for them to find. So if you haven't been to my channel before, my name is Tiffany Domina, and my website is howtoentrepreneur.org, and my mission there is to help you grow a business from idea to full-time income, and from full-time income to enterprise. So I have lots of resources there to help you to grow your business, and I would love it if you would stop by and visit me in my internet home there. So without taking any longer, let's get started on talking about how to create a good website structure for SEO and user experience. So first, let's talk about why structure is important. And the reasons why it's important is because you can beat higher authority sites with fewer links. So a lot of people talk about backlinks, and they talk about internal links, and they talk about lots of things like that. And they talk about it because there's stats that prove that backlinks and internal linking and all of that impacts search engine optimization, and it can help with ranking in the search engines. So if you have a good website structure, it also helps with that. It improves relevance and appeals to search intent better. So if you have a good website structure, it can help people to feel like you have relevant information for what they're looking for, and that relevance helps with getting more sales conversions, and also helps with building a tribe, helps with building a community, and helps to find people who have similar interests. It helps in many different ways. It also helps with the user experience because it makes the content, the product, services, whatever it is that you have on your site, easier to find. So if they can find the content easier, then that's when you find people searching around your site more, getting more use of your site, and that helps overall. And then you can also get site links as a result of having a good website structure. And site links is, let's see if we can find a good example. So usually when you go to like a website, you type in, let's look for this one, her show. So when you go here and you type in this website here, you can see how they have these site links below. It says New Balance and Supply and duffel bags and bestsellers, backpacks and hip bags. So you can tell just by this that these are the most important pages on this website, or you would think so. And so a lot of times people will just click straight from the search engines to these results here, and it shortens the sales funnel because they'll go straight to a page that takes them to what they're interested in, and it takes them around the site so that they can find something to purchase on the site. So you get site links from having a good website structure. And it also improves how your site is crawled by the bots, because Google, Microsoft, Yahoo, all of them use bots to scan the content that's online, to find out what it's about, to see what it's relevant to, and then to file it or index it so that when a searcher is looking for something, they can give the searcher the most relevant information. The search engine that provides the best experience and gives the most relevant information to those searchers is the one that gets the most use. And so that's the goal with Google. That's the goal with Microsoft. They want you to use their search platforms. So they want to give you answers to what you're looking for. If we as website owners make our websites where they're easy to crawl so that they're filed accurately so that the search user has a good experience, then we're working together with the overall goal, and it makes it where we can get better rankings and we can get better results in our businesses. And then finally, it's good for search engine optimization. So the first component that I want to talk to you about with site structure is the hierarchy. So when you look at, let's go to another example. But when you look at some of these examples, you can see that there's a hierarchy. There's a top level page, which is the home page. And from that, you'll have the menu that will have these main ideas across it, and then you'll have supporting content beneath that. These main ideas may be categories, and the supporting content may be subcategories. You can have more than one subcategory, and then you can have different posts inside of that, or you can have product pages, however you decide to do it, but it should be clear. It should be easy to get around. It should make sense both to the end user and to the bots that'll be searching the site. So some things to keep in mind when you are creating your hierarchy is that you want it to be fairly logical. You want it to make sense that you're going from the home page to whether it's women's fashion, men's fashion, kids' fashion. That makes sense. So when people come to a fashion website, it makes sense that they would see those things in the menu bar. If the hierarchy is not logical, it'll be more likely that it won't convert. You also don't want to choose lots of categories, especially when you're starting out. So when you're starting out, you can put the categories in your WordPress website, but you don't want to add that into your navigation early on, because if there's not content inside of those categories and you put those categories in the navigation, it'll just make people frustrated because they'll go to that page and there's nothing there for them. Sometimes people call the categories, or they go by a term called silos, and this is where you choose, like I said, main ideas that you segment your site into, and you can build out these main ideas over time, but it's important to have those main ideas. So it can also be called a niche and then sub niches. So I'll explain more about what these look like and how to get niche ideas or silo ideas or category ideas later in the video. So you want to try to keep the categories balanced. So you don't want to have lots of subcategories within one category and not a lot in others. And this was something when I started my site I really didn't know a lot about. I didn't know a lot about website structure. So I created the website and then I wrote on a lot of different topics, but being that the topics didn't all have the same relevance, then it was harder to rank. It took a longer time to get results. So website structure is really important. Building out one sub niche at a time is really important. Making sure that you are having authority within one category and then moving on to others. All of those things are really important. Now, in terms of URL structure, you want to keep your URL structure consistent with your navigation hierarchy. So as an example, if the site is a fashion site and is divided into categories like women's purses, women's scarves, then you want the URL to be something like yourwomenspurssite.com, and then you'll have the category pages where it will look something like yourwomenspurssite.com/category/women's purses. So if you try to be too creative or something like that, then it may not be logical. And so I've seen some people where they have maybe womenspursswebsite.com/ category/WP or something like that, and it means something to them, but it doesn't necessarily mean something to the end user or to the search bots that come to crawl the site and to index the material. So you want to make sure that it's logical so that it's easy for your site to be indexed and all of that. Now, you also don't want to make the content hard to find. You can make the content hard to find by not pointing any links to it and by not pointing links away from it. So this is called orphaned content. Neil Patel says a shallow website, that is one that requires 3 or fewer clicks to reach every page, is far more preferable than a deep website, which requires lengthy strings of clicks to see every page on your site. So you don't want it to be where people have to click and click and click in order to find the content on your site. You want it to be fairly easy. If they're looking for women's fashion, then it's easy for them to find the purses, the scarves, and everything else. If they're looking for men's fashion, it's easy for them to find the socks, the pants, the dress shirts. So your site structure makes that possible. Now you want to create a menu that lists the main pages on your site, and I like to recommend for people to make those menu pages especially connected to their conversion goals. So if you have pages like your about, your privacy policy, or your affiliate disclosure, those pages don't necessarily make you money. And so when you have those pages in your top level menu, it just takes people away from the overall conversion goal, which is usually the goal of the website. Can you imagine for a second if you go into the grocery store and the first thing that they have is the grocery store history instead of having shelves for you to buy things? It's kind of like having the about page at the top level menu. Or if they had their policies and disclosures as the first row where you can pick those up and read them. It's kind of like it doesn't really make sense for the end user. But you can put them in your footer menu. You can put them somewhere where they can read those if they are curious about that. And also if you run ads and things like that, then the ad platforms a lot of times require that the privacy policy and the affiliate disclosure is somewhere where it's easy for searchers to find. So you may want to put those in the footer where they're easily accessible, but they don't necessarily need to be above the scroll. Next, you also want to use the menu for pages like maybe your top recommendation, or your landing page where maybe you do email opt-ins, or maybe it's a buyer's guide for highly searched items in your niche. These are all opportunities to guide the end user closer to a conversion goal. So all of these things help to get sales, and that's really the main goal of most websites. So you also want to develop an internal linking plan. So when you have your website and you have several main ideas and you have your content that is within each of those main ideas, then you want to find a way that if the person comes to your website and they are looking for women's fashion, that they can find like all of the content within that would be relevant to what they're looking for. So for example, maybe they go into women's fashion and they are interested in scarves. So then you want to be able to create an internal linking plan that will send them from one scarf to another very similar one that might help them overall to find what they're looking for. If they're able to click from one link to another on your site, it's more likely that they'll find what they're looking for. So that internal linking plan is really important. Now, this is some things that John Mueller from Google had to say about site structure. He says sites should have he's basically saying that sites should have a hierarchy, like home, categories, and subcategories, like we talked about previously. These are also known as theme pyramids, and this structure goes from one subject to more specific subtopics, so that the final result resembles kind of like a pyramid. So in this type of site structure, the home page would be at the top of the pyramid, the second row would be subtopics, and those are linked from the main navigation, and the interlinked pages from those navigation pages would be like the remaining rows of the pyramid. So when a website does not have this conventional site structure, then it's referred to as a flat site structure. And this means that all the pages are one click away from the home page. So it appears that there's no page more important than the other. And that's how Google will think of it, as no page is more important than the other. And so in response to a question on flat site structure websites, Mueller said, in general, I'd be careful to avoid setting up a situation where normal website navigation doesn't work. So we should be able to crawl from one URL to another URL on your website just by the links on the page. And he also said, if that's not possible, then we lose a lot of context. So if we're only seeing these URLs through your sitemap file, then we don't really know how these URLs are related to each other, and it makes it really hard for us to be able to understand how relevant is this piece of content in context to your website. So these are some things to think about. The bots are they're becoming more and more sophisticated and really becoming better at crawling a website and seeing what the content is about and indexing it properly. They're getting better at serving the end user with answers to their questions. And you can see when you're using Google and you type in something, a lot of times it's accurate. It'll give you the information that you're looking for. And that's why we've become so heavily reliant on search engines. But we as website owners help this process by making our website structure easy for the bots to read, and it helps us in turn because they send us more traffic because we are satisfying the end user. So you want to plan your silos, and that is basically just thinking about your by planning your silos, I mean that is thinking about the main ideas that you'll be talking about on your website. You don't just want to come up with these out of the woodwork. You want to plan these silos based off of what's going to be the most important for the end user. What are they going to be looking for? And so if you have a site that's about something like women's fashion, then like maybe they might be looking for women's purses, or maybe they might be looking for scarves, maybe shirts, maybe skirts, maybe pants. And so that would be they might be looking by brand names. So maybe they look by Vera Bradley versus Coach and things like that. So you want to plan your silos based off of the supply and demand, and based off of a thorough understanding of your niche and what people may be looking for within that niche, and how you can provide a solution for what they're looking for. So this is all important. So You also want to avoid what's called orphaned pages. So an orphaned page is where you write a piece of content, maybe you write a blog post, and the blog post doesn't have any links to it, or so basically there's no way for a person to get to that blog post from any other blog post. So you, just like how external links go out to authoritative resources, and it provides context to Google that your page must be authoritative, Google takes your internal links as a signal of the importance and the meaning of each of your web pages. So this structure is also why you would never want to have an orphaned page on your website, and why pillar content pages must be linked in the page itself. So this is really important because any page that has no links in or out of it must not be important for the users. That's how the bots would see it. So this is really important for us as website owners to keep this in mind. And when you create a new article on your website, to make sure that other articles that it's relevant to, you go to those articles and add a link to that new article so that people can get to it from the old articles. It makes it easier for them to find other content they may be interested in. So let's take a moment and look at a good site structure. Or to decide how to even make a good site structure. So I like to use this this mind mapping software. I learned about this from Jay or Magic Studios at Wealthy Affiliate. He uses this to show us examples of good site structure. And so this is a site that's about internet marketing, in the internet marketing niche. And so you have the home page, and then you have several silos or categories. And now these categories, you may not, you probably don't want to start with all of these categories starting out, because each category can take you a full year to write reviews, comparisons, list posts, and tutorials about everything in each of these categories. But what I usually see, and this is even how I started out with my website, is that you'll have a person who's brand new to starting an online business. They're starting an affiliate marketing website or an e-commerce website, and they want to attack everything at once. So they start the website, and it's internetmarketing.com, and that's the home page. And then they have all of these category pages, and then they start to write something about a survey, and they write something about e-commerce, and they write something about affiliate marketing, and something else about affiliate marketing software, something else about WordPress plugins, and they have a bunch of content that can't link together, that has no relevance, and that's having a hard time ranking because either it's orphaned or because it's no depth to the website, really. It's not authoritative in any specific topic, and it's hard to for Google to decide what is the website really about. Is it going to be about hosting, or is it going to be about WordPress themes, or is it going to be about email marketing? Because there are sites that are specifically about each individual niche. The email marketing by itself can be a niche. WordPress plugins by itself can be a niche. So it can be really tough for a site that's brand new to try to start out attacking all of these niches when there's big authority sites within each one. So basically when you're starting out, you want to choose, like, even if you decide to have a broad site, like say you want to start in a big niche or a lifestyle niche, like maybe women's fashion, or maybe you want to start in a lifestyle niche like parenting. It still has to be specific sub niches within that you build out, and then you scale from there. So maybe if you're starting out with a make money online or internet marketing site, then maybe you would start out and your topic would be surveys, and you would be writing reviews and comparisons and list posts and tutorials about surveys specifically. And once that part is built out and the traffic and the results are there, then you would move on from surveys over to something like maybe e-commerce, and you would build out from there. And you have a relevant offer, a relevant survey offer, a relevant e-commerce offer, a relevant affiliate marketing offer, and you can have tie-in to one core product, but either way, you want to make sure that you maintain the flow of relevance. And if this were a different type of site, like let's say this is a fashion site, like we talked about before, this could be a women's fashion site, and this could be women's purses, let me move this over, and this could be women's scarves, and then you can move on like this, women's lingerie, and maybe you start out with only a few subcategories, or even one subcategory can be enough to start with. And then you have women's purse reviews, women's purse comparisons, women's purse list posts, women's purse tutorials, and all of this can help you to build an affiliate income, an ad income, and more. So this is how the structure that can build a healthy affiliate site. And so you might be asking, how do you find good silos? And so Pinterest is a great tool for finding really good silos, because you can look for something like let's say we want to find out in the fashion niche, you can see things up here. It tells you like different topics that people are looking for: minimalist, fall, edgy, outfits. You can see things here, and then you can also look at, I like to look at people, and then when you look at you can look at people, and then you can see what type of boards they have. So let's pick up a board, or a and sometimes the boards can give you good niche ideas that you can use. You can find audiences that are interested in similar things just by looking at the boards. So let's go back and see if we can find some good boards. So for this one, motivation, heels, high heel shoes, bags, eyeglass frames, braids, locks, twists. And you can see these are sub niches within fashion: swimsuits, tattoo ideas, these turbans and head wraps. So you can find these are sub niches, and then you can take that and make that a category. Like fashion prom dresses, you can make these categories on your site, And rather than having a fashion site that is just all over the place, where you talk sometimes about prom dresses and sometimes about eyebrows and sometimes about all these different things, you can have an organized site that where you have planned out your website structure, and you know that you're gonna have at least 30 posts on prom dresses, and you're going to start there, and then you're going to move on and talk a little bit about something else after you get traction with your primary sub niche. So that really helps with SEO. Once you start getting traction and building those rankings in one category, you can carry that over and build your site authority in other categories as well. So so we talked about relevance a little bit before, but in order to achieve really high rankings, you have to stabilize that flow of relevance. And this also helps with sales. So if you try to have a women's purse website, and you start talking about men's shoes on the website, and then you try to get at the end of the men's shoes article, you try to get them to buy a purse for their girlfriend, it's no flow of relevance, so it would be difficult to get that conversion. But the site structure and properly planning the flow of relevance all the way to the sale really helps to increase the likelihood of your sales and conversions. So a lot of people ask questions about niche selection, and because I do a lot of coaching with online entrepreneurs, and so one of the first things that you do when you're starting an online affiliate marketing website or even an online business as a whole, you choose an audience of people that you are going to be serving, and this is often called a niche. So when you choose a niche, a lot of people are tempted to choose a niche that's very broad, and some people choose a niche that's very narrow. So you have a site you can have a niche like crossbow hunting, and your whole website is about crossbow hunting, or you can choose to have a niche like outdoor sports, and crossbow hunting can be a sub niche. Both of them can achieve the same goal, but in terms of ranking and income, it's best to take even if you decide that you want to grow out into the broad website, the outdoor sports, it's best to start out speaking on narrow topics. The difference between choosing a broad niche and a narrow niche doesn't vary up front. It varies in the long term, because the outdoor site can be branched out and it can be evolved into other topics and sub niches, whereas the crossbow hunting site would have its limits because it's so targeted. The key is still to focus on a narrow niche, regardless of whether you'll branch out in the long run. So in the beginning, you want to focus until you're starting to get optimal results, and then you can branch out. Now, if you are not relying so much on SEO and maybe you're relying more on social media, then that may be completely different for you. But when it comes to search engine optimization, the flow of relevance and being able to interlink and all of that is really important. So, these are some sites that are good to look at if you are looking for internet marketing site examples. So let's look at WP Beginner. So you can see that this is a blog. This is a blog, and you can see they speak on WordPress and helping people to get comfortable with WordPress. So they do lots of different reviews on various things, and help people to find solutions so that they can use WordPress successfully. So they write content like the best WordPress themes for photographers and various things like that. But you'll find that they have specific subcategories, and the menu goes straight across, and it directs you to their conversion goals, their deals. They are affiliates of these different companies, so these deals help them to get conversions. So again, good WordPress, good site structure helps to direct the user to their solutions and your conversion goals. So it should be a win-win. And so when you look at other niches, let's go to this site, Gear Hunt. And you can see this is a hunting site, and you can see different categories here. Now, I'm sure they didn't start out with all of these categories unless they have a large team of writers, but you can see that the site is divided into different categories, which could serve as niches or sub-niches for someone who's looking for a outdoor sports niche idea. Okay, so these are some other good resources to look at if you want to learn more about site structure or silos and how you can improve the SEO or the user experience on your website with internal links. This is a lot on silo theory and site structure theory, but you find very successful internet marketers who are very authoritative in the niche talk about this, and these are people who get great results with SEO, so and very respected in the SEO space. You have Bruce Clay, Scratch 99, Authority Hacker, Neil Patel, Yoast, and Search Engine Journal all speak on site structure and silo theory to help us learn more about how important this is to get in search engine traffic. So definitely go and check out these resources if you're looking for more information on this topic. Now, if you enjoyed this, please like below and follow and subscribe, and leave your comments below if you have comments or questions about this. This was one of those topics that was really something that I found late in my website development, and I wish I had known it earlier on, but I decided to share this with you because I want you to be able to get the best results from your website early on. And so I'm hoping that this training is really helpful for you, helps you to structure your website, and helps you to get those search engine rankings as early as you can. Now, but if you do have any additional questions about this, definitely leave them below and I will make sure to get back to you. So that's all I have for this video. I really hope to see you in the next one. If you haven't, definitely stop by hotentrepreneur.org. Check out the resources I have there. Like and subscribe and enroll in some of the courses that I have there. And I look forward to seeing you around. Have a great day. Bye.